We are here today at Florida Insurance Agency, Studio 17 on Government Street. We have David Redmond and we have Larry Kuhn. And we're sitting here and we just want to talk a little bit about real estate and see how the market is doing, some kind of updates. We have a realtor here and we have a mortgage broker, and everybody knows who I am. Wadih El Khoury, Florida Insurance Agency, talk about insurance. So David, we have the pleasure to invite, last time we talked about inviting Larry Kuhn. He's here with us today. And I'm going to basically pass it down to you and see what do you want to talk with Larry about?
Wadih, thank you, man. It's a great to be together again and picking up on some of the history and finding out this morning what your last name, the symbolization of it. So we have a priest in the room.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we do.
Yep. That's my last name in my own language.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
El Khoury is actually Catholic priest in Lebanese and Arabic.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So we love that. Yeah, we are blessed, thankful, whatever term you want to put on, to have Larry Kuhn here. Larry is the broker owner of Kuhn Realty and probably one of the smarter, better realtors that I've worked with in the last 27, 28 years. And so, Larry, thank you for joining us today.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course. One of the things we want to talk about is really to get your inner perspective, your expertise, and what you see in the market, maybe looking at different markets, different pockets, maybe even property types, single family, condo. What is your perspective? The last 3 to 4 years has been a very bumpy real estate mortgage world. I'm sure insurance as well.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So we've all felt the effects of interest rates being up, inflation being high. As we're starting to see the kind of
insurance premium being high.
Yes, premiums being high. Almost impossible to get insured. Don't buy an older home. But from your perspective, what do you see the market look like? And then just for the listeners, just for a little bit of color, if you don't mind, would you kind of give us a little bit of backdrop on your professional path and where you came from and where you are today, and how you feel like that really gives you a competitive edge in the marketplace?
Sure. Yeah. Born and raised here, Pensacola. Grew up in Gulf Breeze. Been doing this 14 years, which is nuts. I'm 30 now.
Wow.
Yeah. Started when I was 25. Kind of fell into this.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean I believe you when you say fell into it. The lineage goes pretty deep, because I understand your father was pretty good at this as well, right?
Yeah, and my grandma, she actually wrote the third page of the contract about the WDO. She was served on FREC back in the 50s, 50s, 60s.
Wow.
Yeah, so kind of been in the family for a while. Didn't know I wanted to do it, but moved back from Baton Rouge. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
And we had a night job out on the beach. Great job. Island Authority. It was awesome. I didn't have anything to do during the day. Got my license and kind of learned it pretty quick. I took a different outlook on it because I got obsessed with the contract, because that kind of keeps the deal together and it outlines the terms of the deal. And I just kind of took a different perspective on how to serve people than I thought was happening. I focus more on relationships and just really getting to know a lot of people. And because that's really at the end of the day, I mean, I really enjoy reading Ryan Serhant's books. And he always says, nobody likes to be sold anything. They want to go shopping with friends. And that's real estate 101. And I tell all my agents, like, nobody wants to be sold that. They really just want to hang out with a friend and really represent them and get them the house they want. So that's how I've always kind of treated clients that work with me and who I work for. Of course, there's different levels and different transactions, how you do all that. But so I was with Levin for 7 years, 8 years. Levin Rinke, Robert's a great guy, told me a lot of stuff. I learned a bunch, but it was time for me to get out of there and do my own thing. And I started the company the same week my daughter was born, Scout. So it's 6.5 years old.
Wow.
It's kind of easy to remember Scout's how old she is or how old the company is, vice versa. And kind of got super blessed and fortunate to have a lot of good agents that believed in me and wanted to come work for me and learn from me. And not many have left. I think my favorite statistic is not all the homes we've sold or millions in real estate or who we've represented. I've only had 4 people leave my company in 6 years.
Wow. That speaks volume.
Yeah, most people jump around and, there's a shiny new penny that comes along all the time and everybody kind of jumps around. But everybody, I say if they want to leave and they think you can go be successful somewhere else, and go do it for sure. But, I want to be there to support them and help them grow. And I got a few of them that are just absolutely killing it this year.
Well, and I know a lot of those agents, and I would have to tend to agree with you that they are phenomenal at what they do, not only relationship building, but just the knowledge base, the professionalism is really second to none. And to kind of reiterate what you were saying earlier, I think, Wadih as a business owner, I think the cornerstone to any really successful business is retention of the people.
Correct.
And so the reflection of Larry's leadership and what he does in the community or the marketplace, whatever term you want to put on it, is a reflection of the retention and the staff he has. And from my perspective, being on the other side of the transaction from Larry, real estate wise, on the mortgage side, is that, every event we go to, Kuhn Realty is always represented. And, not only that, but just the functions that you put on, the sponsorship. And by saying that, really, it's the reinvestment back into the community. And that makes a huge difference.
100%. And actually, I wanted to piggyback on that. Everything you said earlier, Larry, it definitely represents the whole idea why we're doing this podcast. Actually, it's a vodcast because there is video as well. The idea behind it is David and I were talking, and I guess you and David were talking about the same thing prior. We want to bring back community feel, not just people doing transactions. We want to be able to build relationships. We want to try to, you hear about all of the AI, all of the technology, all of the systems. If we lose touch on relationships, and this is exactly what I'm actually worried about in the future, what's going to be happening by all of these individuals that's talking about AI tools and recordings and dialers and all of that. But at the end of the day, there is a core of relationship.
Yeah.
If you don't have it and you don't believe in your community, it's just a transaction.
Sure.
And exactly what you just said earlier, it basically meshes exactly what we're trying to achieve by recording this.
Right.
Well, if you go back to what you said too, Larry, is the cornerstone of success, and you've seen it at Kuhn Realty, is, salesmen, the good salesmen, they don't sell an object, they sell a vision. And so when you can have a consumer and you can show them the vision of what they want in regards to the home they want to have it for their family, for their future. And when you can establish that vision, it's hard to even say that we're in sales. It's just really transactional. And that's what makes it really nice. And transactions are done through relationships. And that's what's really important.
But trust. I feel like there is a fine line. Sometimes it can be just a transaction without a relationship, sure. Right?
And some clients want that.
Correct.
Yeah, some clients don't want to be friends. They don't. Hey,
they want to close the deal. Give me the key. I'm done.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, that's what they want. But yeah, you got to let the client drive the bus. I mean, you're working for them, and however they want it, you can tailor made it to anything. I think that's what's beautiful about all our businesses is you can make it as crazy as you want or as low key as you want.
Almost a boutique feel to a certain degree.
Totally, yeah. That's for sure. That's what I would say.
Yeah. So another thing I would like to shed a little bit of light on. So I have a young individual just joined our team. She's in her early 20s. She's our marketing girl.
Oh, nice.
Her name is Peyton. I'll try to basically learn a little bit about this new generation and how they feel and how they want to transact any type of business. So in a way, I get some relief. But again, Peyton is not your regular Gen Zer. When I was talking to her, I was like, hey, I want to understand people your age. Let's say if you want to do business with somebody, how do you go by doing this? Because right now you have all the tools under your fingerprints. right? You can go to Google, you can do Chat GPT, you can go and let's say for insurance, for example, they can go and reach somebody online, realtors, mortgage broker, all of that. What makes the decision or the final decision for you to transact business with somebody? Her answer to me was very impressive. I was like, okay, well, tell me a little bit. She was like, first, I do a little bit of my research. I go online, I read a little bit about it. And it depends on the type of transaction. Buying a home is not something that is very light. I take it very serious. It's a very expensive transaction. Right. So what I'll do is I'll learn a little bit and I'll go and I want to call and I want to go and meet with somebody or talk to them on the phone to be able to explain to me exactly what's going to happen. Home, whenever you buy a house, that's probably the most expensive asset or investment they're going to be purchasing. Right. And whenever you talk to somebody in their early 20s, that's a big, big issue. And we can find a little bit like my concern from a business owner. We hear about all of these insurance companies going direct to consumer, right? So am I going to be obsolete 2, 3 years, 5 years down the road? So these are all questions that come into my mind and trying to understand what are we doing about it.
Well, if you go back and I don't have the statistics in front of me, but if you look at really Gen Z is a great example, by the way. They're very, very interactive online. But, for the last 30 years, we've all heard of the next great thing that was going to make everybody obsolete.
Correct.
Right? And so Larry alluded to it earlier. I think the one thing that will never be replaced is the relationship. And one of the things that I can say from my chair, again, from being on the opposite side, is watching Larry and his team and how they've built great relationships. And not only having great relationships, but foundationally having the knowledge behind it to be able to statistically give the data to the consumer. So you take a Peyton as a great example. That she goes in, she does her research, she does all of her data gathering, and then she reaches out to somebody like Larry. Exactly. That now, regurgitates it or reiterates what she already kind of knows, and it builds a huge level of comfort. And so, I guess the question I have for Larry is that, looking at Larry's age, looking at the age of your business, 6.5 years, looking at the age of your staff, I would consider it's fairly young in today's world in regards to the different real estate agencies. What do you contribute the majority of your success and growth? And if let's just say I was a 25-year-old guy and I was out there in the marketplace out of college and I wanted a job, what would make me be attracted to come to Kuhn Realty, as my professional path?
So I'll answer this like two ways. So when I was leaving Levin, I knew I was starting my own business, but nobody knew that. So I went to Better Homes and Garden, Keller. Pretty much I picked the top 7 or 8 brokerages, and you don't really know what a brokerage has unless you work there.
Sure.
And so I had them all pitch for me to come work there, and they showed me what they had. And I went through them all, and I'm like, oh, man, I can do it better than this. I knew I was leaving, but I just really wanted to see behind the curtain of all these brokerages. One, what am I going to be up against when I'm trying to get agents? So they're going to give me the same pitch.
Smart.
And then 2, well, what can I do different from them, and what can I offer that's going to be different? So it's a lot like Peyton. I mean, do your homework for sure. And then my line when anybody's talking about coming to work for me is, what's your definition of a broker? Because yours is going to be, everybody in this room is going to be different. Correct. And I want to see if it's going to be a good fit. Like if they're expecting me to do X, Y, Z, but I'm only doing this, it's not going to be a good fit. And I say, go home, think about it. Because even if you just got in real estate, your definition is going to be if you've been in it 10 years.
Which, hold that thought, but you made a great point, because it's kind of the same premise as if you're a mortgage guy and you don't do FHA and you try to hire a guy that does nothing but FHA, you're just not a good fit. So it doesn't mean that neither one of you are really good at what you do,
right? But
you want to find that commonality and that fit.
Sure. And I haven't recruited anybody. I tried to recruit one gal one time, and I just naturally let it happen. Let agents come to me that say, hey, I want to learn from Larry. I want to see what he does. And I really get them involved. I take them to development meetings. having them meet my clients, to help them grow. Cause that's what, hell, that's what Robert did for me. And I wanted to do the same thing. So.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not in a real estate, right? We do a lot of transaction with a lot of realtors. So every event I go to David point earlier, all what I see or I hear, Kuhn's Realty sponsored this event, involvement in the community, a lot of philanthropy you're giving back to the community.
Yeah.
And then, I ran, to you guys in several events as well. We shake hands. We have utmost respect.
Committees, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been good.
So I feel like the new generation, they want to participate. And if you drive around town, I see a lot of your signs.
Yeah.
So if I was a young realtor, I want to learn from you. Right,
you learn from the best, right?
Correct. Yeah. You want to learn from the best. You want to be able to hopefully one day be at the level that you achieved, especially in 6.5 years. This is unheard of. This is huge.
Well, what is the saying? If you're in a room with 6 very unsuccessful people, you're going to be the 7th.
Sure.
Yeah. If you're in a room with 6 very successful people, you're going to be the 7th.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And then another thing I want to talk about. So talking about driving around town, I've seen a lot of big signs that says Kuhn Realty, a lot of new development, a lot of new things coming downtown around the area. Do you want to shed a little bit of light on some projects you're working on?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's kind of surreal. Being from here and you're seeing everything that's going on.
Yeah.
If you would have told me 10 years ago there'd be a $2 million or $3 million condo on Palafox, I would have been just laughed like we're doing right now.
Everybody, yeah.
But we're here, and it ain't slowing down. Anytime I go for listing or I'm talking with the developers, I'm like, look, you build it, it's going to sell. Because I just believe in Pensacola. And we're just in such a good spot. You guys know life's easy here. It's an easy sell. If someone's coming from a big city and they want a different life, Pensacola can give you that. There's always something fun to do.
Sure.
Surrounded by water. There's never any traffic. It's easy. And that's kind of a one-word way to sell Pensacola. But yeah, we got some cool stuff coming. There's some stuff that's kind of in the works, but we're building 13 units right across Caddy Corner from here, and we got 17 at the end of this street, Palafox, which only got 2 left. We've had a few of those get gobbled up recently. And then hopefully we'll have something at the end of this street if we can get it approved. That'll be another 10 units. So it's kind of, I told David this statistics the other day. When I first got in the business, the total volume of Pensacola real estate was about $1 billion a year. So 2012, we're kind of coming out of the recession. People are getting their feet. They're starting to make some money. The past couple of years has been $8 billion. So you have an insane amount of wealth that's created. Also, we haven't had that much inventory. It's not like we have towers everywhere.
Correct.
And it hasn't gone vertical. And there's new subdivisions and all that, but there hasn't been that much inventory to do a $7 billion jump. So that's how much, appreciation everybody's had in their assets that they have here. What's that going to go like in 10 years? Another 10. Are we going to be at 15 billion? I think so. But I think for Pensacola to keep going, if we can go vertical, like Chad's doing over there with the cool hotel and 25 more units, and we got something else right over there by the train station.
Which hotel? Is that the hotel you're talking about?
Yeah, he's Tristan Hotel. It's kind of cool. I think it's a cool development over there. And there's 25 condos he's selling. He's already pre-sold most of those. So, that's just, he had one party and he sold them all.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice. Those are like 07, 04 days, 06, sorry. No,
that's why by 06 is right. That's the sweet spot right there.
But it's we got really good developers that are building it right, doing the right thing. Most of them are from here, so their legacy is what they're building. Sure. So that's pretty cool. It's not like, you see stuff on the beach around us. These guys come in, throw money, and leave. These are the guys that my kids are playing with their kids. Correct. And they're my neighbors. So
makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah. They give a shit. Really, to be honest, that's it. Sure. And they want to do the right thing. So it's just refreshing to be around that. And then I think the city was smart. They just didn't let it go crazy, which it could have. They were really smart in allowing certain developments to happen. And the zoning has been strong, whether that's good or bad, whatever side of the coin you're on.
Sure.
But it's been a fun ride. I think we're just in the tipping point here. It's going to get even better.
So as you see the market really change, I mean, you're talking about going from 1 billion to 8. I mean, that's a tremendous change in the market.
It's huge.
And you see the development. You just described the different developers coming in and the changes that have made. I mean, you look at what Studer's done downtown. You look at the Wahoos. You look at the ECAU plant being pushed up north. You see all these things have changed. Downtown Palafox. I mean, downtown Palafox Street, unbelievable the change just from when I've lived here. And so you see all the great things going on. From your perspective, maybe from a high level view, what do you see as the challenges, in our community on the real estate side from your chair?
I mean, it's pretty much this affordability. I mean, that's tough. There's only so much money in Pensacola, and the average salary, I think now is 65, 70.
I think the mayor is calling it attainable housing.
Okay. All right.
With affordable housing?
Instead of affordable, it's attainable.
Attainable, yes.
Yeah, that's tough. So, I mean, you did the mortgage on my first house, and it was in East Hill on Maxwell Street, and I paid $150,000.
Yeah,
and the rates were 3% back then. This was 2016, and so I mean, that was a way different time. Today's something like Peyton was trying to buy a house, the average sale right now in Pensacola is $365. So you got a $200,000 jump in that amount of time, 10 years, and it's tough for.
Well, one of the things that we've seen is that, I think rate has a huge impact on it. And then today, hearing the news that the administration wants to go to a 50-year amortization on mortgages. And then you look at what that effect is as far as the compounding of interest. So where's the affordability points? And I think the challenge from the mortgage perspective, and it's probably around this table as well, is really the affordability. And you look at the average price of Pensacola, you look at a first-time home buyer, and you almost really have to be at about $130,000 a year in combined income in your house with very minimal, revolving and installment debt to qualify. Right. And so as you see the pricing of houses go up and interest rates not coming back down to the level that we were even before pandemic times, where we were historically the rate in a mortgage has been in the mid fives. And so the affordability point there gives people a better opportunity. So that I would agree that's probably the biggest challenge we're seeing from all perspectives of business to this table.
So from you two professionals, what do you think is going to happen on the value of homeowners? Is it going to go down a little bit? Are we stable? I know there is 3% average, they say usually in equity that increases.
Appreciation.
What do you foresee? I mean, it is a problem. To your point, I mean, this is something we're outpricing a lot of local buyers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only way for it to come down is either we have a catastrophic event, something crazy happens,
which we don't want.
Yeah,
nobody wants that. Absolutely.
Or there's just got to be so much more inventory. The problem we have here, and anybody moving here, if you look at a map of Pensacola, we're sandwiched in between Air Force bases, and we have a ton of water and natural parks around us, or state parks. So, like, if you look at the beach, Gulf Breeze, East Hill, I mean, they can't build any more land.
Correct.
So, I don't know about y'all, but the demand ain't going anywhere. And so these areas that we service, I mean, I think they're rock solid because they can't make any more land. They can't go vertical in Gulf Breeze. They can't build anything more on the beach. So the supply is strict. It's just not going to happen. So I always tell everybody, if you're buying in these markets, it's such a safe investment because as the city gets bigger and populated, it's only going to be where those people want to be. And that's just a really high demand area with no supply ever coming.
One thing I want to ask, and again, sometimes me sitting here talking out loud and thinking about things. During COVID, there was a lot of transient. A lot of people moved from out of town that were working remote, right? And they came with high-paying jobs. Well, now you hear a lot of the corporate, they're moving back to mandatory in office, no more,
Sure.
remote. You think, is that affecting the buying power or some more of these people buying in, or didn't affect you?
No, not really.
Not really?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I think it will happen in other areas. I mean, did we have an influx of those buyers? For sure. Everybody did in the South. I mean, they all ran here and wanted to be near the sunshine.
Sure.
And we're just, and the prices are so cheap. But I didn't see that much of those type of clients in our market that we service. But yeah, it's going to be a problem. I mean, I have some friends that have had this great quality of life. They've worked for Navy Federal and they work from home and they take their kids to school. Well, that's ending.
Correct.
And they're like, well, what am I going to do now? And luckily their kids are a little bit older, but then it's like, okay, now I got to get all this stuff in line. Like it's just totally changed the game for them. So if it's happening here locally, it's just a compound effect. It's just a matter of time. But no, I didn't see that many. We saw a lot of people from the north that came and to the west, but they were mostly paying cash.
What about you, David? Have you seen any of it?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, Larry's point, and really one of the things that we have that is good and bad really is we don't really have a lot of industrial pockets here in Pensacola. So we don't have, huge companies coming down here. We're very fortunate that we have the outliers with, Mobile and some of the other, bigger cities that gives us a little bit of that overflow. And I think to Larry's point is that, we saw a lot of the local companies, probably Navy Fed being one as well. I mean, obviously that's the largest campus for Navy Fed in the United States. Sure. Huge employment bed. And so you see that companies, even the smaller ones, the mom and pops, they were letting people work at home. And when those policies changed, it did put a lot of pressure on a lot of people. But if you rewind a little bit, if you look at life, that was really 2 years. And so everybody got really used to a lifestyle that really doesn't exist. Unfortunately, right. You're an entrepreneurial and you can kind of set your own hours or you work for somebody. So your time restricted. And so there's a little bit of rub there. One of the things we've done is we tried to be flexible. We've had a couple of work from home days during the week or month.
We all had to do it. So,
I think it just, helps people, stay focused on, the job ahead of them. But as far as the effect on our real estate market, I haven't really seen one either. So I don't know what we're going to see. Is that policy starting to tighten down across the United States? Is it going to have an impact? Are people going to have to move out of this area back to where, quote, the home base is for, their company?
Yeah. So we haven't seen that yet.
We've had one or two.
Okay.
Well, there's some one-offs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Amazon called them back. There's a few that moved here during that COVID.
Yeah.
And if they bought right, hell, they caught the upswing and made some money while they were here.
Sure.
So,
well, that's good. That's good because I was actually, again, sitting and thinking about it and reading about all of these corporate policy changes. And I'm like, well, we had a lot of transient people that moved here in the last 3-4 years. And for them to be able to afford to buy these expensive homes, they couldn't afford it on the local pay. They had to be getting paid from somewhere outside of this area.
Well, not only that, but Larry's point earlier is that, you have people coming from different demographics in the United States, and they come here, and the affordability points, even though we would consider them high,
sure, correct.
They look at them as very low. And then you couple that with historical low rates in the low 3s and 2s. There was a study done by major servicing lenders. I'm not going to, obviously can't drop any names on here, correct. But the statistically 48% of America couldn't requalify for the house they're in now if they bought during the COVID period of time. And so you add all those things together. And so, yes, we saw an influx, but as far as, I think the challenge that we have more so than employment is really affordability and supply and demand.
Sure.
And I just don't feel like Larry's point that we've seen enough supply to really drive pricing down. And then if pricing is driven down, you see, more houses on the market. And as the buyers jump back in, it's just always going to be a balancing act. I mean, which one it's a tug of war, which one's, pulling a little harder to make it, the market move that direction.
Now, Larry, you focus on basically downtown East Hill area, the beach. Do you do a lot more inland?
Like north of I-10?
Yeah, north of I-10.
Not really.
No. Okay.
And not that I won't sell something out there. It's just our office is right down here. It's super convenient. I kind of, when I moved back from Baton Rouge, I saw a lot of our friends were starting to kind of revitalize East Hill. And there was one agent. Area. Yeah, there was one agent at the time, and I'm like, man, this is where I need to be. This is where everybody wants to be. There's a lot of turnovers, so comps rise faster. Because a lot of the places like the downtown, the Gulf Breeze, I mean, people buy and they die. Yep. And it's so you don't get that turnover as much to raise comps, resell, and build equity real quick. You got to be a long game holder. So I was like, I'm going to dominate East Hill. As soon as something came up, I went and looked at it. I started to learn the market really, really well. And because you can't be an expert on Cantonment Pays, East Hill, Gulf Breeze, it's just, you can, but you won't have a life. Sure. And so I just really focused on the area that I wanted to live in.
Okay.
And that, wanted to service because it's fun and it's easy to sell.
But I think, from and this is being on the other side of the transactions, one of the things I think that makes you and Kuhn Realty very unique from my perspective, what I've always seen is that, if you want to be successful in life, you want to be really, really good at one thing. And you guys have really picked your niche market and really honed in on it and became the experts at it. I mean, I hear a lot of people talk about East Hill or different pockets within downtown or the beach, and your name comes up every time as somebody they want to speak to about it.
Yeah.
You think East Hill, Larry Kuhn, automatically.
Yeah, automatically.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's fun and it's a cool place to live. I mean, there's like 30 parks, 12th is cool. There's a bunch of cool restaurants, some breweries in there. I mean, Bayview Park's awesome. I think it's only going to get better.
Oh yeah.
So it's
and that's really been a big change the last 10 years.
Oh sure, and it's easy to get to the beach. I mean, when they redid the bridge and that roundabout, I mean, what a game changer. Yep. And then getting to Gulf Breeze, downtown's easy. It's just a cool, convenient place to live.
No, I don't disagree. I know we're probably bumping up against a little bit of time, aren't we?
Yeah, we're okay. I mean, we're at 32 minutes. We want to keep it at 30, but we're talking about a lot of good stuff here. So we're flowing. Things. Yeah, we're flowing. Let's continue. I don't mind.
No, I'm with you. I just, the thing is that I wanted to kind of really maybe, and I know we've touched about a little bit, but really pick Larry's brain, knowing from where he started, what his business looks like today, the expertise. What do you really see, in the future for, let's just focus maybe on East Hill, Gulf Breeze, downtown. Where do you see Pensacola in 20 years? I know that's a big one.
Wow. I think the big question mark that really kind of takes, if they move the port around, I think if they could restructure that and relocate it, it would change downtown insane. I think that's just a gold mine there just because the location, it sticks out. So that's just a big question mark. Developers are looking at that. I mean, the beach, it is what it is. Hopefully they figure out the parking and everything.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, no doubt. There's not a lot of room there. Gulf Breeze, I don't know what that looks like. I think you and I were talking about it, like what Orange Beach and Gulf Shores has done with their schools. Mm-hmm. I kind of, and it's not political, but I think they're going to break away from the county and do their own school system. And those schools are some of the best in the area, but they're stuck in the 60s and 70s, and they're just old and they haven't been updated.
We're talking about Gulf Breeze?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I went. And there's some master planning there that could really change Gulf Breeze if they move the stadium and do all that, which would, it'd be awesome for Gulf Breeze.
Well, we see our neighbors to the west, right? You know, you reference Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. I mean, you look at Baldwin County, I think is very similar to Santa Rosa County. Great school systems. You know, there's so many, checks so many different boxes, but that area has grown exponentially because of what you just alluded to, is the school system.
Right.
I mean, if you want to have a great community, you got to have great schools.
For sure.
And you have to have great facilities. Gulf Breeze has always had, quote, really good schools. But to your point, the facilities are really, really far behind. And this is not a negative, but you drive, like I'm an Ole Miss guy, so I drive to Oxford, Mississippi. You drive up 45 and you get in Centronell, Alabama, and you drive by this beautiful high school. And you're like, I'm in Centronell. And then you come to Gulf Breeze and you're like, that's the high school. And so aesthetically, it makes a big difference.
Sure.
And so I would have to tend to agree with that as well.
But
What about the new high school down?
yeah, that's nice.
Beautiful,
Yeah, I mean,
beautiful.
they're doing a great job down there. I think it was needed, and with definitely relief on some of the teachers and all the students. And it's and that's the growth. I mean, there was never going to be like, hey, we need a high school down here. You know, when I was in high school, there wasn't even a bar high school yet. Sure. It launched when I was a sophomore.
So my wife went to Gulf Breeze as well.
Yeah.
And we own a house in Gulf Breeze on Sound Side. Whenever the new high school was built, we were actually trying to look on the zoning. Are we going to be fitting under the new school, or are we going to go back to the old high school?
Yeah.
And my wife, being a Dolphin, right, she was partial to it, and she wanted to make sure that our kids are going to be going to that old high school. I guess there's a lot of loyalty, I guess, to that place. And then whenever you hear the success stories and all the graduates and the potential and a lot of the scholarship they get, I don't know how people look at that in the big picture.
Well, it's really, if you look at it in that vein, which I agree with you, it's not a systematic issue with the school and the academics or any of that, because all of that has been world class.
Yeah.
But it's really facility driven. And the
So
facilities.
aesthetic. We're just looking from
it's
driving down
aesthetic.
the road how it's looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you go inside, and Gulf Breeze is a special place. Like, it's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Like, and not a lot of people say this, but like, there is a drive that is between all of our friends that we were never like, I'm going to be a surgeon, or I'm going to be an attorney. Like, everybody pushes each other kind of silently. And I think a lot of that's just because there's really good families that live there and raise really good kids. But everybody pushes each other silently to do really, really good things. And, growing up there was a lottery of life, because, you have some really high influential, very wealthy people, but you also have some middle-class families, and it is such a wide net in Gulf Breeze. I have so many different friends from different backgrounds, and it was so cool growing up there, and my kids are going to benefit from that as well. So
Gulf
it's
Breeze
awesome.
is an amazing community.
Yeah, it's
always
cool
has
as
been.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So I have twin girls. They're only 6 months old. So we're talking about what?
They'll build 4 schools by then. You're in great shape.
Hopefully by then, all of that aesthetic stuff we're talking about probably been achieved.
The new high school down the highway by the zoo, and for all the old timers, that was
Flea market.
That was flea market.
The old flea
But
market.
so my wife and I were talking about it, and our concern with that school. Whenever you look on the demographics, who's living around the school? There's a lot of military.
Right.
So our concern is, if our kids are going, we're local, we're not moving around. So if she wants to have the chance of our kids to establish these colleagues from first grade all the way to high school and knowing each other.
Lifetime friendship.
Yeah,
lifetime friendship.
Correct. Instead of every 2 years, 3 years, you have people move in, military. That's why we were focusing on. We wish we can go back to the old Gulf Breeze High School, instead of going to that one. That's the perspective we're looking at.
Makes sense. I mean, all my best friends I've known since I was in second grade.
Correct.
Still friends today. I mean, still hang out with their kids. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff.
And I think that's what Gulf Breeze, the community, gives you right there.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, a great community, great families, great educational system. It's the cornerstone of the beach. You go over the bridge, you're in Pensacola. The great thing about Pensacola is you're literally 5-hour drive away from so many metropolitan cities. Sure. And then you come here, to Larry's point, it's really a big city into a small one. I mean, you have a lot of mom and pop restaurants, businesses, and you have chains that come in, and you can literally be at the beach, and you can drive 25 miles north, and you're in North Escambia County, and you're hunting. Oh yeah, as we know, right? Oh yeah. And so you have the best of both worlds. It's a very, very unique place, and so it's to have the opportunity to grow up here as Larry did. You're almost you're fortunate being in that position.
For sure.
Yeah, I actually moved to Pensacola in 1999.
Okay.
So I've seen the changes. Yeah. Now, not as much as the local, but I've been living in Pensacola more than I've been in anywhere else in my lifetime. So I consider myself part of this community. And everybody now asks me why you want to stay in Pensacola, and why are we trying to do what we're doing here right now? Sure. It's my kids. It's the future of my kids. They were born in Pensacola. Right. I want to be able to see a good future for them. I want to be able to make sure that hopefully one day when they graduate, they want to return back to their hometown and do something. Yeah. That's the goal.
Yeah, no, that's that's special. And, not a lot of places can say that. And, one of the things that we say in the mortgage business is that, we live here.
Sure.
12 months out of the year, and everybody else in America works 12 months out of the year to save up to come down here for 1 week.
For a visit.
Yeah. For a vacation. And that's what we call home.
Yeah, for sure. It's
amazing.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we are at 41 minutes. Any other last minute thought we want to talk about before we adjourn?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, one, Larry, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have a personal agenda. I've known Larry for a long time. I've watched his success over the years and think he's an amazing person. Amazing husband, father, all that, and watch his business grow. It's been refreshing watching success, right? And so it's been a great story and a great person, and so it's been fun to watch. Larry, is anything that you could think of that you would want to tell the listeners that would be just maybe unique to the city, to yourself, to whatever it may be, imparting?
No, I mean, I think if anybody's, I got interviewed Gulf Breeze News the other day, and they're like, well, why would someone, want to work with someone who works at Kuhn Realty? And I tell everybody, I go to my listing appointments with our agents, and, we're locally owned. Sure. Every time we have a closing, we give a little bit to Sacred Heart Hospital. And so far we've given $40,000.
Wow.
And so we're on track to give 50 by the end of the year. But it's just something like you were talking about, investing back here. We're locally owned. And so I have my fingers in all my agents and figure out, hey, I watch all their deals, help them with everything. So even if they're not working with me directly, sure, I'm still involved in the transactions, probably, but like both of you guys. We let our employees do what they want. We don't overshadow them.
Correct.
But they know they can always come to us and help them out.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of like walking on a tightrope with a net underneath you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Makes you a little more confident.
No doubt.
Well, Larry, I can say you're one of the best, and Kuhn Realty is amazing. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you in here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
It's good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.